Boris Johnson stands accused by his own ethics advisor of putting at risk, in his words, placing at risk the standards, the high standards that are necessary by the ministerial code. That's because Lord Geit, who acts as the ethics watchdog for the Prime Minister, who investigates allegations that ministers, including the Prime Minister, have breached the rules, wasn't given access to WhatsApp messages between the Prime Minister and a wealthy Tory donor who was helping set up a trust which would fund the private refurbishment of Boris Johnson's own flat. Boris Johnson ultimately took £112,000, which he later had to repay in order to upgrade the furnishings, the fixings in the flat above number 11 inside Downing Street. Boris Johnson employed a well-known designer called Lulu Little, and the costs of that refurbishment spiralled out of control. Boris Johnson WhatsApped a message to Lord Brownlow, a Tory donor who was setting up a trust for the refurbishment costs, to meet the refurbishment costs, saying, and we have the exchange for the first time, saying, "I'm afraid parts of our flat are still a bit of a tip." This is in November 2020. "I'm keen to allow Lulu Little to get on with it. Can you possibly ask her to get in touch for your approvals?" And Lord Brownlow goes on to say, yes, that's not a problem. Lord Brownlow was setting up a trust that never ended up being created. Instead, Lord Brownlow himself reached into his own pocket and paid the money. Boris Johnson has formally been cleared of a big breach of the ministerial code because Boris Johnson didn't know that Lord Brownlow was funding Lord Brownlow's trust. Some might see that as something of a technicality, but Lord Geit, the independent ministerial standards advisor, says that is the point at which Boris Johnson has been cleared. But I think the ease with which the Prime Minister can get access to tens of thousands of pounds for refurbishment that previous Prime Ministers would have had to pay for themselves, and the fact that after this started coming out, the Prime Minister's own office, Downing Street, and the Cabinet Office didn't go to the lengths that might have been expected in order to procure these messages that a different watchdog, the Electoral Commission, which is truly independent, got hold of, do raise questions about, once again raise questions about the state of ethics at the heart of government. Lord Geit ultimately clearing the Prime Minister, but some damning language. Boris Johnson promises to do better. Lord Geit says he hopes that the Prime Minister will live up to his promise.